How you doing, friends? We are still on this 371. This is my fourth day on this project. Um, these are kind of nice projects, especially where you're using fillers of some sort or you're waiting for something to cool. You go putter. I liked having two benches. I have three. I got one I can't get near right now. It's got a project on it, but we won't talk about that later. Okay, so you get to work on other saws and do other things. The one thing I'm not managing to do this week is clean any damn thing. It's good to clean as you go, but I have to keep my head wrapped around this project. And cases are together. I'll show you where we're at. And hopefully this will all make good sense. I got my degree wheel on. So I'm just going to pick the camera up and I'll show you a few things. Okay. I got my charger cord on, and I'm having trouble. There we go. Okay. See, looks like a dirt bike, kind of. Well, that's kind of where we come from. We beveled the edges on the crank, the leading edges. It moves nice and free. I thought you'd like to see that. Now, I want to tell you something about this build. If you aren't really well versed on everything that's really happening with this build, there's things I can't show you in video that crop up. And I really should, but it would be, well, this is my fourth day. I've got 3 full days. You'd have to be right here in the shop with me so you see every little tiny thing. I'm trying to hit all the high spots to explain it, but especially if you have your own channel, if you're trying to get into the porting good and you're doing a good job, a lot of you are, and I know it. Hard getting a channel off the ground. I know it is. This might not be the build you want to follow completely. You might want to do a few things different than I'm doing. But, that's up to you. This is a successful build, it straightaway is. But everything you change, you create another inherent set of problems. Be prepared to deal with them problems. Know what they're going to be. Okay, so with that being said, we know that we got a 36 millimeter stroke in this saw factory and went to 52 millimeter. It's 2 millimeter overbore. Okay, you've seen my transfers. You know what we're doing there. Yeah, they're going to match up pretty good. You don't raise them. Don't raise transfers. You want less transfer timing in most cases. This saw, I'm hoping to see about 26 degrees, 27 degrees opening time after my exhaust open. That's what I'm hoping for. Okay. Now, I used a 272 piston, just run-of-the-mill highway piston. I had a Weisco I was playing with. I'll tell you what I was trying to do. And I was going to do terrible things to it, but it didn't work out. I was using a Weisco for an 046 steel, 52 millimeter. And I didn't have a problem solving the pin position issue, just any. That wasn't going to be but the skirt was just too short. I was going to get some bad timing numbers. This is the 272. It's got the windows. Short skirt piston. It is. But we made a dome on that piston. And I'm going to show you some details there. Those of you that understand two strokes will see two things in there. You'll see this outer ring. It's a little lower. It's like 6 thousandths lower here. And that ramp matches the angle of the combustion chamber. And there's reasons for that. I'm going to tell you what they are. When you are using a dome piston, pop-up, whatever you want to call it, yeah, we cut this on a lathe. you got to know that you're clearing this whole dome. Now, the reason I matched that angle, I've created a situation where the outer lip will catch exhaust gases and try to keep it from coming down around to the ring. Because what we've done is, as the piston comes up, people don't think about this. What's going on? Oh, everybody looks at it coming down, transfers open. Here's the path across top of the piston. Okay, that's great. What's happening when the piston goes back up? It clears the exhaust roof, starts building compression. That air flattens out. And what this is going to do, from here to here, it'll create a swirl. And then this side will be like this. When it comes up further, the squish band kicks in, and it starts shoving your exhaust gases to the center of your piston. When it's done its job, the last gases potentially go to the top of the piston. This right here area works like a second squish band. And what it does, it seals them exhaust gases just like this outer squish band. This is an inner squish band into the center of that combustion chamber. And then it fires it. Now, this is happening so rapidly, you wouldn't believe it. But it is what happens. So, I hope that made sense to you. These saws are wheeling. These engines are really wheeling. They really are. You look at how many times they're firing a second. That's ridiculous numbers. Calculate it out, guys. If your saw runs 12.5, 14,000, 13, whatever, 8,000. Calculate that out by 60 and see exactly what, you'll see what I'm talking about. So this is what we're doing to the piston. Now, ordinarily, and I was going to cover this for a couple of you that asked, I'll drill on the exhaust side here and maybe here and here both, opposite of your exhaust. So there would be a hole over here and a hole over here. And what that hole is in that piston, and it would be like, right about that far below the ring. It's not super critical. That's for extra oil. It helps cool and lubricate on that exhaust side. And you can do it on your intake side. But in this case right here, we have a window. It's doing the same thing. No, we don't need this window. It's just there. This doesn't help. It doesn't hurt. You might think that, well, maybe it does help. Or you can look at it and think maybe it doesn't hurt. Let's just see how they run. This is something that's common practice in the saw world. A lot of builders out there that are real good, know all this stuff, don't have YouTube channels. And they're sitting back smiling. Yeah, I know that one. Good for you. Okay, so we did that. We covered in the last video what we're doing with this entire saw. Now, we ran into an interesting thing. Because of the short skirt piston, our timing numbers on the intake were way out of whack. I was getting like 176 degrees or something total opening time. I don't like to cross 160. With this saw, with the work we're doing, I'm going to have it, I want a more refined, it's going to be very energetic, believe me. But I want it to be a smoother, nicer saw to operate. I want it to be something when you pick it up, fires right up, runs good, impresses you. The saw itself will have some mad skills right up there in the cut. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for torque and RPMs at the same time. This is how I like to build my torque at a higher RPM. This type of build is. You can play the numbers game and start pushing that exhaust roof up, and you're going to get it too high because you don't have enough compression. That's good for 92. You can run 92 opening time of that. Yes, you can. It's going to be just fine. But we're not doing it because we want the torque. I have my timing at, I just checked. I've showed you guys this 100 times, so I'm not even going to bother, but I'll explain it. My exhaust timing, after I did just a little work, at, where you can see it there, I've got it right at 102 opening time. Now, when I get this cleaned up, I'll probably be about 101 and a half or 101. Now, a stock's one of these was 104 generally, total opening. So we got to open it just a little quicker. We gained our compression to overcome that, guaranteed. Plus a little more, I think, probably. Okay, we've got air coming out of our cases very nicely. Up through our transfers. You've seen that video. If you haven't, go back and look and you'll see. And we have ample transfer volume. One of you asked a question. That was important too. Okay, Harv, you're talking about bigger transfer case volume makes more high-end horsepower than smaller. Yes, it does. It does. But when you filled your cases, like we did them right here and here, didn't you lose volume? Yep, sure did. That is not a lot of volume loss, but it's enough. I think your transfers count for case volume. I think we made up the difference, probably. Probably. We didn't hurt ourselves. You know. The intake timing being 176, I can't live with that. It'll spit gas right out. And I know it. Okay, you guys know, a lot of you already, that you can use JB Weld on the floor of your intake to correct it. Okay. And we did. See that right there? That band, it actually goes this way. Just realize it's upside down. I filled that. Okay. Right now, I've got 159 degrees total opening. Okay. I want to reduce that just a little more. And that's fine. When I'm playing with JB Weld and these things, I like to sneak up on it. But I want to give you a couple tips that you kind of really need to know when you're filling your cases or your floor of your intake, or even your transfers in some cases, guys. We're going to get into that in another build. I'm going to show something that'll scare the crap out of you. I intend on building another one of these here shortly for Buck and Billy. And we're gonna do some awful things to a saw. We're gonna do awful things. You think, well, you're doing them now. No, this is pretty simple. This isn't crazy. But we need crazy, don't we? Because that's what we do is crazy. Okay, so if you notice, now I have to get a light to show you this probably. I have greatly reduced the area from here to here when we put this JB Weld in the cylinder, which you can see it right there. See how it's just kind of all humped up? We've got to fill that floor in. This is nice for me because then I can get a flat floor. I like a flat floor and let it drop down. You can't do it with saws that you're not going to the next level. You can't. You got to wait until you're using JB Weld, and you can if you want to, but you can't get as nice a job. I like that flat. I'll end up with a D shape on my intake. So this is the D shape intake. Okay, this is what it's going to be. Flat floor, round at the top. Okay. I'm going to remove material. Now, I've already told you guys, don't touch that area right there. Don't touch it. Just make a little nick here and here, a little drag intake thing. Now, this is a case where you start breaking rules. Sometimes you got to do that. We're raising that intake roof. Yes. And I know there's about 5 of you just now, so no, don't do that. It doesn't work. I tried it. You're right. Until you start doing this kind of build. And this is actually an introduction to what we're doing this winter. It just happened to be a nice little practice session to get you up to speed of what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. And then, you know what? This is just like drag racing. All the bull stops when you hit that tree. Then it gets serious. All the bull stops when you run that saw. The first time you run that, the debate's over. You like it or you didn't. There's no more bench talk. There's no more, oh, wow, look at this thing run. Wow, that's so fast. No, this isn't what we want. We want pull the trigger, shut up, hang on, and blow chips. And it better do it, because if it doesn't meet my expectation, it doesn't go to nobody, especially Buck and Billy. When I like it, then he likes it. And you'll get to see it right here. And as far as the running, guess what? We did have a little rain yesterday. It didn't hurt us. We've had horrible, horrible rains and floods. Where we cut at is muddy, muddy, muddy. And it's been this way since March. It has not stopped here in New York. I think the whole Northeast is still muddy. It's a bad thing. It looks like we've had a big cool down. I got up to 50 degrees, went out on the back porch with a cup of coffee and no t-shirt this morning, and I got nippleitis. Yeah, I did. And I liked it. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's been hot. Now we're getting a break. If our fall weather's starting to kick in a little bit, that means it will be dry. Those of you I have built your saws for and you have not seen them run, I won't ship them without them being run. I don't have a lick of wood cut. Guess what? We're going to use your saws to cut my wood. And I like that idea. I just wish I could find a way to have you guys buy my own dang gas for your saws. That's, put $5 in my truck or something. Wouldn't that be fun? Nah, we don't worry about little things like that. We're going to get our opportunity to run these saws, get them shipped to you. Been a crazy year. Last year was nuts. And this year just seems to be just as nuts. Okay, I got a little more grinding to do on this cylinder, so I have to get this saw off the bench and get it put away, and we'll get it set up for the next little deal. I done a bunch of grinding without you. I actually am grinding the roof of my intake. Remember, it's upside down, so what's on the bottom is actually supposed to be on top. Don't do this with just a normal port work. This channel's always been about trying to help people get started how to do your own port work and have fun with this, okay? So we'll continue right on with all that. But once in a while, we're going to do something like this that's just a little more interesting. So remember, when you do one thing, you might cause another set of problems. Pre-plan that. Know what's going to happen. If you get too big of intake volume, what happens? You slow your velocity down. You know we're looking at laminar flow. I know I get picked on about it. I don't even care. Air does fly like makes a golf ball fly. You fly a golf ball. We're flying air and fuel through this. I don't want it to slow down. That's why I don't ever remove from the roof. I want that to come straight down in the saw. It's to get around that piston skirt. This is a short skirt. It buries right up. I got room. So when that piston skirt is going up into this area right here and further, and it's not blocking into that, I've got room for improvement right there. But because I'm filling the floor, I'm taking advantage of that. Once I get the floor finished exactly like I like it, my total volume and my intake will probably actually be about the same or even less than a stock saw. Believe it or not, it will be the same or less because I'm moving both the roof and the floor, you know? This is the way it works. And I'm loving this. This is a great build for me. I'm going to have, obviously, a D-shaped exhaust. And when I get done, you can see the top is rounded. I'm going to end up with a flat floor. It'll be a D-shaped intake. Great thing. Good for me. And yes, we are going to try to run a factory HD6 or HD12 carburetor on this Walboro that was supposed to be on it. Because we normally increase the carburetor size, and we still might have to run a 390 or bigger carb, but we're going to try not to. Let's see if we can't work with a stock one. I'll tell you why. I want to see if I can't build this as a low top. So I'm kind of hoping this works out. And so this is really good stuff for me. It's kind of a breath of fresh air. Yeah, it's a lot more time consuming. Don't worry about it. Just do it. Do part of this. I recommend not, if you do this build, don't try to get the 272 piston in there unless you're really aware of what changes where and what you got to do about it. Let me show you the piston you want to run. This is the 372 piston that comes with the kit. Has a pop-up. For normal 372 builds that are just nice and darn strong, this is a perfect piston. It really is. It's a little weighty, not too bad. Keep in mind, as you increase bore size, you naturally increase compression a little bit. Just doing that. So when you put the pop-up in it too, you do increase the compression more. If you'll take that piston, do this, however much of this build you want to do, you don't have to cut your intake. You ain't got to fill your intake. There's just a whole lot of problems go away. Okay, I just tell you that right now. And it runs very good. It's very, very strong. I recommend this highly. This is a little more going on in the event than this is what it is. There's a little more going on. So everything I do to make things more awesome in one way, we're solving problems in another. This is life. This is the way it works. Let me get just a little more done here, and I'll get right back with you. I did an unboxing on this, but until I get bucket saw done, you won't see the unboxing. We're going to do a compilation video of the 371 build. This is a 394. It came from Eric Nelson. He's a good friend. He's, I put that out, huh? My damn gum smoking. Okay, here's the deal. I think this saw will run just fine. We're going to find out. But it needs a little attention. The handle's kind of whopped out of shape, and the chain brake, and we got it's a serviceable top cover, and that would actually clean up nicely, wouldn't it? The gas tank's mint. It's not been logged with. It ain't. See that front of that saw? Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so this is one of these that, what am I actually going to do with it? This is my personal saw. It's never going anywhere. We're going to leave it at 394. I'm not going to stroke it or big bore. We're going to work with it. I've got a few of these cylinders. I'm blessed, aren't I, to have cylinders and OEM pistons left for these. So, Eric, old buddy, let me show you where we're headed. Look at this. Brand new top cover. Yeah, it's all husky. Isn't that going to be nice looking on that saw? I'm not going to do it right this second, but when I get where I'm waiting for glue to dry or don't want to start into another project on this build I'm doing, I'm going to just putter it, just clean it up, do what we need to do. Brand new starter cover. Yep. Guess what? Brand new, in the plastic, chain side cover with a chain brake for the saw. We have a beautiful saw here then. It's going to be nice. Guess I better get some stickers ordered when we can, hadn't I? We got to change the flywheel. I've got a flywheel for it. This is going to be fun. Eric, thanks, buddy. I just wanted you to see that stuff. Well, what I'm at now, guys, is I'm actually starting to do a little work on my exhaust as far as cleaning it up. I've got the numbers I want. I'm kind of hoping it settles in right around 101. Is what I'm hoping. You don't need more than that. We just don't. But when you're grinding, you get the bumps and the hiccups and little things. Don't worry about it. Just work it, take your time, slow up. Just work about nice and slow. You got to be at peace in your mind to do port work. Nice little cuts. But these old chisel files, after I've used them up, they cut on aluminum good. This is Dawn Dish Liquid and Water. And I use it with my tooling, which I told you. I also use it with my darn old files. And you can look right in there, and you just take little cuts to smooth things up. Unlike everybody else that ever ported a chainsaw, I don't even get real crazy on my exhaust. I do like my exhaust much smoother than I do my transfers and intake. I leave my transfers, intake, rough mill finish. That's what I do. Yep, the laminar flow. I could tell a whole lot of jokes I heard this morning talking about laminar flow, but I'm not going to do it because I'm a nice guy. I was getting teased pretty good, so, and I think it's funny personally, by my friends actually, not anybody else. I was getting teased by my friends, and it was an interior joke. Let's just put it that way. You know what? I'm sure you guys have had that. Do you ever have just a week just tired out? And somebody calls you or talks to you that just in a darn good mood and brings something to the table that's so stinking funny you can't stand it. Well, but my buddy Slammer does that stuff all the time. He'll just frickin' get to ripping. Of course, I'm on WhatsApp with a lot of actually other builders and like Tin Man. And I share some of the stuff that Slammer comes out with. That's hilarious. It really, no, I can't say it on YouTube. Some people would take offense to it, but trust me, not me. I'm not here to show you, look who I am, look what I got, or look how awesome I am. I'm here to help you learn how to do this stuff. And I'm learning it all the time myself still. You're never done, are you? You're never done learning. Need a little 80 grit here. Wrap it around my file. Kind of get her twisted up there a bit. Yeah, I use my file. It's right on through for this. I catch right up my corners. Boy, when you do port work, you make darn sure you go around your transfers and intake and exhaust with a round burr bit. Something finer cut. I use a diamond, but that's what I use. But anything you got, and just break that edge. Just you do that. And then you sand around all these pieces so that you don't roll up a burr and run that through your piston. That boy, it does bad things real fast. Now see, I'm liking how this is looking. I'll give you a little. Let me get a light in behind it. This is by no means done yet, but it's starting to get there, and it's starting to. Yeah, it is. Nothing like working on these saws, guys. Okay, now what I've got to do is fill the rest of my intake, and it's got to dry. I'm going to leave the floor flat. And we're going to just see what the numbers are on the intake when I get done. Like I said, we was at 159. I'd like to be 153, something like that. So we're going to have 153 degrees totally open and for sulfur bucket billy. And we're going to have the exhaust 101 for buckin billy. We have a slight increase in compression. We have better flowing cases. And there's other things I'll share with you as we get to them. So we don't need huge numbers. We don't. And I'm going to tell you something. You don't need huge numbers to do an awesome job on your saw. You do not. You don't need massive high compression or anything. It's just not necessary. Okay, continue watching the build. Hope you don't get too bored with it. Probably about the next time around, we're actually going to be putting the cylinder on and starter on and giving that just a little tug and just see what happens. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.